The transport ships descended from the gray sky like massive metal birds. Maya Chen stood with the other scientists and diplomats on the landing platform, her heart beating fast. This was it, the moment humanity had waited for since the first signal from space arrived 3 years ago. Real aliens were coming to Earth. The first ship's doors opened with a hiss of air. Maya held her breath. A tall, slender creature stepped out, its skin shimmering like oil on water. Then another emerged, this one covered in soft blue fur with 3 eyes. Maya smiled. They were beautiful in their strangeness. Around her, people whispered in excitement and wonder. Then the third ship's doors opened. The crowd went silent. What stepped out was not beautiful. It was terrifying. The creature stood at least 12 feet tall, its body covered in black armor that looked like volcanic glass. 4 massive arms hung at its sides, each ending in clawed hands that could crush a human skull. Its head was angular and sharp, with 6 amber eyes arranged in 2 rows. When it moved, the ground trembled slightly under its weight. Maya heard someone behind her gasp. Another person took a step back. The soldiers who were supposed to escort the aliens tightened their grips on their weapons. "That's a Gorath," someone whispered. "I read about them. They're killers." The massive alien walked forward slowly. Its eyes scanned the crowd, and everywhere its gaze landed, people looked away. Maya watched as the creature stopped at the edge of the landing platform, separate from the other aliens. It stood alone, perfectly still like a statue of nightmare given life. The official welcome ceremony began. The governor of the Pacific region gave a speech about peace and cooperation. The alien delegates responded with greetings in their own languages, translated by small devices they wore. But the Gorath said nothing. It simply stood there, watching with those 6 unblinking eyes. Maya tried to focus on the other aliens, on the historic moment unfolding. But her eyes kept drifting back to the giant warrior. Something about it fascinated her. Maybe it was the scientist in her, always curious about things she didn't understand, or maybe it was something else. The ceremony ended, and the aliens were led into the embassy building. Maya followed with the other members of the cultural exchange program. Her job was to help the aliens understand human culture and learn about theirs in return. It was the opportunity of a lifetime. Inside the embassy, the aliens were given rooms and spaces to make them comfortable. Maya noticed that the Gorath was assigned a room far from everyone else at the end of a long hallway. When the security chief gave out assignments, every guard who was supposed to patrol that hallway requested a transfer. 3 diplomats refused to work in the same wing. "It's just too dangerous," one diplomat said to her supervisor. "Those things are monsters. Everyone in the galaxy knows it." Maya said nothing, but she felt uncomfortable with how easily people use that word, monster. She had been a scientist long enough to know that monster usually just meant something we don't understand. Yet over the next few days, Maya went to meetings and cultural exchanges with the other aliens. She learned that the shimmering ones were called Velen, and they communicated partially through color changes in their skin. The blue-furred beings were Korthi, and they were actually much stronger than they looked. There were dozens of other species, each fascinating in their own way, but the Gorath was never at these meetings. It was always somewhere else, standing guard or patrolling. Maya learned its name was Craventhor. She learned that all Gorath served as warriors or guards. She learned that no other aliens wanted to be near him either. On the 5th day, Maya was walking through the embassy gardens when she saw Craventhor. He stood under a large tree, his massive frame making the tree look small. He was completely motionless, those 6 eyes staring at something in the distance. Maya's feet carried her forward before her brain could tell them to stop. She walked across the grass toward the giant alien. Her hands were shaking a little, but she kept going. "Hello," she said when she was close enough. Her voice sounded small. Craventhor's eyes shifted to look at her. All 6 of them. Maya felt her breath catch in her throat. Up close, he was even more frightening. Each of his arms was thicker than her entire body. His claws were as long as her fingers, but she didn't run. She stood there meeting those alien eyes. "I'm Maya," she said. "I'm one of the scientists here." For a long moment, nothing happened. Craventhor just stared at her. Then slowly his head moved in a slight downward motion. A nod, perhaps. Maya chose to believe it was. "It's a nice day," she said, not sure what else to say. She felt foolish, but she had started this conversation and didn't want to just walk away. Craventhor's eyes moved away from her. back to whatever he had been watching before. Maya realized he was looking at birds flying between the trees. She stood there for another moment, then quietly walked away. That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about the alien warrior standing alone under the tree. She got up and went to her computer, searching through the database of alien species that the Coalition had provided. The file on Gorath was short. They were a warrior race. They were feared across the galaxy. They were hired as mercenaries and guards. They rarely spoke. They were dangerous, but that was all surface information. Maya dug deeper, accessing academic papers and cultural studies. What she found surprised her. The Gorath had their own language, their own history, their own traditions. They weren't just mindless fighters. They had a complex society that nobody seemed to care about because everyone was too afraid to look closer. The next morning, Maya went back to the garden. Kreventhor was there again in the same spot. She walked up to him, her heart beating fast but her feet steady. "Good morning," she said. This time, Kreventhor's head turned to her immediately. He watched her with those amber eyes. "I was reading about your people last night," Maya continued. "I hope that's okay. I'm a xenobiologist. Learning about other species is my job. But also I just wanted to understand better." Kreventhor remained silent, but he didn't look away. "I learned that Gorath have excellent hearing," Maya said. "Is that true? Can you hear things humans can't?" For a moment nothing happened. Then Kreventhor's head moved in that same slight nod. Maya felt a thrill of excitement. He was responding. "Actually responding, that must be useful," she said. "But also may be difficult sometimes, all the noise in a place like this." Kreventhor's eyes shifted slightly. Was that agreement? Maya couldn't be sure, but she felt like they were actually communicating even if he wasn't speaking. "Well, I should go," Maya said. "I have meetings. But maybe I'll see you here tomorrow." She turned to walk away. Behind her, she heard something. A sound like distant thunder, deep and rumbling. It took her a moment to realize what it was. Kreventhor was speaking. "Tomorrow," he said. Just one word, but it was enough. Maya smiled and kept walking. Behind her, the giant alien warrior stood under his tree, watching her go. And for the first time since arriving on Earth, Kreventhor did not feel entirely alone. Around the embassy, people had noticed Maya's interaction with the Gorath. Some thought she was brave. Others thought she was foolish. But Maya didn't care much about what others thought. She had made a choice that felt right to her. She had chosen not to be afraid. Or rather, she had chosen to act despite her fear. And that, she was beginning to understand, made all the difference. Maya kept her promise. The next morning, she went back to the garden. Kreventhor was there, standing in the same spot under the tree. When he saw her, his head turned slightly, and what Maya had learned was his way of acknowledging her presence. "Good morning, Kreventhor?" she said, using his name for the first time. The giant alien's eyes focused on her. "Good morning, Maya Chen," he replied. His voice was deep, so deep that Maya felt it vibrate in her chest rather than just hearing it with her ears. They stood in comfortable silence for a while. Maya found herself relaxing around the massive warrior. Yes, he was frightening to look at. Yes, he could probably tear her apart without effort. But there was something calm about his presence, something peaceful. Over the following weeks, these morning meetings became routine. Maya would come to the garden and Kreventhor would be there. At first, they didn't talk much. But gradually, words came easier. Maya started bringing her research tablet with her. She would read about alien species while Kreventhor stood guard. One morning, she was reading about Gorath cultural practices when she noticed something strange. There were notes in the margins of her document, corrections, additions. Someone had been accessing her files and editing them. "Kreventhor," she said slowly, looking up at him. "Have you been reading my research?" The warrior was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "The information was incorrect. The author misunderstood Gorath bonding rituals." Maya felt her eyes widen. "You corrected my files?" "Yes, I apologize if this was inappropriate." No, it's fine," Maya said quickly. Actually, it was more than fine. It was fascinating. "So these rituals, they're important to your people?" "Very important," Kreventhor said. "But the galaxy does not care to understand. They see only weapons when they look at Gorath." There was something in his voice, a sadness that Maya hadn't expected. She looked up at the towering alien with new eyes. "Tell me about your people," she said softly. "The real story, not what the databases say." Kreventhor was silent for so long that Maya thought he wouldn't answer. Then he began to speak. He told her about Gorath philosophy, about their belief in honorable strength and peaceful power. He explained that Gorath children were taught poetry before combat, that they valued strategy and wisdom as much as physical prowess. He described their homeworld with its purple skies and crystal mountains. "We are not what others think," Craventhor said, "but we are never given the chance to show this. Why not?" Maya asked. "Well, why do other species fear you so much?" "We are large. We are strong. We look dangerous," Craventhor replied. "In the galaxy, appearance is often more important than truth. No species has tried to know us beyond what they see." Maya thought about Earth's own history, about how humans had judged each other by appearance for thousands of years, how much pain that had caused, how slowly they were learning to do better. "That's not fair," she said. "No," Craventhor agreed, "but it is reality." From that day on, their conversations grew deeper. Craventhor taught Maya words in his language. She learned that Gorath didn't just grunt and growl as people assumed. Their language was complex and beautiful, full of subtle meanings that depended on tone and rhythm. Maya shared things about Earth with him. She told him about music and art, about human history and culture. Craventhor listened to everything with what seemed like genuine interest. One day, Maya brought her music player and let Craventhor listen to Beethoven. The giant warrior stood perfectly still as the symphony played, all 6 eyes closed. When it ended, he was quiet for a long time. "Beautiful," he finally said. "Humans understand that strength and beauty can exist together. Perhaps there is hope." But not everyone was happy about Maya's friendship with the Gorath. Other scientists started talking. Some showed concern for her safety. "You're being reckless," Dr. Patterson told her one afternoon. "That thing could snap at any moment." "He's not a thing," Maya said, her voice firm. "His name is Craventhor, and he's been nothing but respectful and peaceful." "That's what everyone thinks before a Gorath goes violent," Patterson replied. "I've read the reports. They're unpredictable." Maya was about to argue when she saw Craventhor standing at the end of the hallway. He had heard everything. His forearms hung at his sides and his head was tilted slightly down. He looked, Maya realized with a pang of sadness, defeated. After Patterson left, Maya walked over to Craventhor. "I'm sorry you had to hear that," she said. "It is nothing new," Craventhor replied. "I have heard such words my entire life. That doesn't make it right. No. But I chose to come on this mission knowing what to expect. I hoped that perhaps humans might be different. That perhaps one species in the galaxy might be willing to see past fear." Maya looked up at him. "I see past it," she said. "And I'm not the only one. Give humans time. We're not perfect, but we learn." Craventhor's eyes focused on her. "You are unusual, Maya Chen. I did not expect to find a friend among the humans. I did not expect to find a friend anywhere." The word friend made Maya's chest feel tight. "You have one now," she said, "whether you like it or not." She thought she saw something change in Craventhor's expression, though his face was so different from a human's that she couldn't be sure. But his voice when he spoke sounded somehow warmer. "I like it," he said simply. The warnings from other humans continued. Security officers watched Maya whenever she was near Craventhor. Some diplomats started avoiding her. Even some of the alien delegates expressed concern. A Velen ambassador approached her one day. "You are kind to befriend the Gorath," the shimmering alien said, its skin flashing colors that the translator interpreted as worry. "But you must be careful. Their kind is dangerous. Have you ever spoken to Craventhor?" Maya asked. "No," the Velen admitted. "No one speaks to Gorath unless necessary." "Maybe that's the problem," Maya said. The Velen's colors shifted to something the translator called confusion, and then discomfort. It walked away without another word. That evening, Maya found Craventhor on the embassy roof. She had discovered he went there sometimes when he wasn't on guard duty. The roof was off limits to most people, but security never stopped the Gorath. They were probably happy to have him far away from everyone else. "You come here often?" Maya asked, walking over to where he stood at the edge, looking out at the city lights. "It is peaceful," Craventhor said, "and I can see the stars." Maya looked up. The stars were bright tonight, scattered across the dark sky like diamonds. "Do you miss your home?" she asked. "Yes, but I also know that I serve a purpose here. If I can show humans that Gorath are more than weapons, perhaps other species will begin to reconsider their prejudice." That's a heavy burden to carry alone, Maya said. Craventhor looked down at her. I am not alone anymore. You have shown me kindness that I did not expect. You have given me something I have not had in many years. What's that? Hope, Craventhor said. Hope that change is possible. They stood together in silence, human and alien, looking up at the stars that belonged to both their peoples. And Maya made a silent promise to herself that she would help Craventhor show the galaxy what she had learned. That beneath the frightening exterior was a person worth knowing. A friend worth having. She just didn't know yet how high the cost of that friendship would be. The day of the Grand Coalition Summit started like any other. Maya woke early and went to meet Craventhor in the garden, as had become their habit. He was already there, waiting under his tree. Big day today, Maya said. Are you nervous? Gorath, do not feel nervousness, Craventhor replied. Then after a pause he added, but I do feel concerned. So many beings in one place. My duty is to protect them. The summit was the largest gathering since the aliens had arrived. Representatives from over 50 species would be in the embassy building, along with hundreds of humans. It was meant to be a celebration of growing cooperation between Earth and the Coalition. Maya squeezed his massive arm, her hand barely wrapping around it. You'll do great. You always do. The summit began at noon. The main hall was filled with aliens of every shape and size, along with human diplomats, scientists, and journalists. Maya stood near the back, watching as the Earth's president gave a speech about unity and shared futures. Craventhor stood at his post along the wall, his 6 eyes constantly scanning the crowd for threats. Maya noticed that people still gave him a wide space, but a few children had started pointing at him with curiosity instead of fear. Small progress, but progress nonetheless. The speeches continued. A Korthi elder spoke about trade agreements. A Velen scientist discussed technology sharing. Everything was going perfectly. Then the lights went out. For a moment there was only confused murmuring in the darkness. Then someone screamed. And then the explosions began. The first blast hit the east wall of the hall. Maya was thrown to the ground by the shockwave. Her ears rang. Smoke filled the air, making it hard to breathe. Around her, people were screaming and running. Another explosion, this one closer. Part of the ceiling collapsed, sending debris raining down. Maya tried to stand, but her legs wouldn't work properly. Everything was chaos and noise and terror. Through the smoke, she saw a massive shape moving. Craventhor. His 4 arms were in motion, pushing people toward the exits, clearing debris with his incredible strength. But instead of running towards safety, he was running deeper into the destruction. He's gone crazy, someone shouted. The Gorath has snapped. Maya saw security officers raising their weapons, pointing them at Craventhor's back. No, she screamed, but her voice was lost in the chaos. She forced herself to her feet and ran after the giant alien. Her training, her common sense, everything told her to run away, but her heart told her to trust her friend. The smoke was thicker, deeper in the building. Maya pulled her shirt over her nose and mouth, trying to filter the air. She could barely see 3 feet ahead, but she could hear Craventhor's heavy footsteps and followed the sound. She found him in what used to be the East Conference Room. The ceiling had partially collapsed, huge chunks of concrete hanging at dangerous angles, and underneath the rubble, Maya heard crying. Craventhor stood beneath the largest section of collapsed ceiling, all 4 arms raised above his head. His arms shook with effort. His black exoskeleton showed cracks and dark blue blood dripped from the fractures. He was holding up the ceiling with his own body. Craventhor, Maya gasped. There are people trapped, he said, his voice strained with pain. I cannot hold much longer. Help them. Maya looked under the precarious shelter Craventhor was creating. She saw them now. A dozen people, maybe more. Humans and aliens pressed together in the small space. Some were unconscious. Others were crying. There were children among them. I need help. Maya shouted back toward where she'd come from. Someone help me. Other people started arriving, drawn by her voice. Some froze when they saw Craventhor, fear on their faces. He's saving them, Maya shouted. He's holding the ceiling up. Help me get them out. Her words broke through their shock. People rushed forward, carefully pulling the trapped victims out from under the rubble. A human child no more than 6 years old, a Velen diplomat, 2 Korthi engineers. One by one they were pulled to safety. Maya worked frantically, her hands bleeding from sharp edges of concrete and metal. She didn't care. All she could think about was getting everyone out before Kraventhor's strength failed. "Almost there," she called up to him. "Just a little longer." Kraventhor didn't respond. His whole body was trembling now. More cracks appeared in his exoskeleton. The ceiling above him groaned, ready to collapse completely. The last person, an unconscious human woman, was pulled free. Maya looked around frantically. "Is that everyone? Is everyone out?" "Yes," someone confirmed. "Everyone's clear." "Kraventhor, let it go," Maya shouted. "Get out of there." But Kraventhor didn't move fast enough. Or maybe he couldn't move at all anymore. His strength was completely gone. As he tried to lower his arms, the entire ceiling section came down. Maya lunged forward without thinking, grabbing one of Kraventhor's arms and pulling with all her strength. It was like trying to pull a mountain. But she felt him shift, felt him try to move with her. Then his other arms pushed out, pushing her away with surprising gentleness even in that desperate moment. Maya flew backward, landing hard on the floor outside the danger zone. The ceiling collapsed with a thunderous crash. Dust and debris exploded outward. Maya covered her head with her arms, feeling chunks of concrete bounce off her back. When the dust began to settle, there was only a massive pile of rubble where Kraventhor had been standing. "No," Maya whispered. Then louder, "No." She scrambled toward the pile, her hands already trying to move chunks of concrete. "Help me, he's under there. We have to get him out." But before anyone could move, security forces arrived, weapons drawn. They surrounded the rubble pile, guns pointing at it. "Everyone back," the security chief ordered. "That Gorath is dangerous." "Are you insane?" Maya screamed at him, her voice raw. "He just saved all those people. He saved children. And you're pointing guns at him? We don't know what happened here," the chief said. "Until we do, we treat him as a potential threat." "I know what happened." Maya stepped between the guns and the rubble. "I was here. I watched him hold up a ceiling for 10 minutes while we evacuated victims. His arms were breaking and he held on." "He's a hero, you idiot." Other voices joined hers. A woman holding a small child said, "She's right. That alien saved my daughter." One of the Korthi engineers spoke up, his translator device crackling. "The Gorath protected us. He could have run, but he stayed." More survivors added their voices. One by one, the people Kraventhor had saved spoke up. Humans and aliens together, all saying the same thing. The security chief lowered his weapon slowly. "All right." Everyone helped dig him out, carefully, and get medical teams here now. The digging began in earnest. Dozens of hands worked together, human and alien, moving rubble piece by piece. Maya worked until her hands bled, until her muscles screamed, until she could barely stand. She didn't stop. Hours passed. The sun was setting when they finally uncovered Kraventhor's body. He wasn't moving. His exoskeleton was shattered in dozens of places. 3 of his 4 arms hung at wrong angles, clearly broken. Dark blue blood covered his body. His 6 eyes were closed. "Is he—" Maya couldn't finish the question. A medical technician checked for vital signs. Everyone held their breath. "He's alive," the technician said finally. "But barely. We need to get him to medical immediately." They brought special equipment to lift Kraventhor's massive body. As they prepared to move him, one of his eyes opened slightly. It focused on Maya. "Everyone safe?" he whispered, his voice so faint that Maya had to lean close to hear. "Yes," she said, tears running down her face. "Everyone's safe. Because of you." Kraventhor's eye closed again. "Good," he breathed. "That is, good." Then he was unconscious again, and they were carrying him away. Maya followed, refusing to leave his side. Behind her, the rescued survivors watched, their faces showing a mix of shame and wonder and gratitude. Everything had changed. The medical wing of the embassy had never been meant to treat a Gorath. The beds were too small. The equipment was designed for species half his size. When they brought Kraventhor in, the human doctor stood back, uncertain and afraid. "We need to help him," Maya said, her voice hoarse from smoke and shouting. "Now." "We don't know Gorath physiology," one doctor said. "We could make things worse." "Then find someone who does know," Maya snapped. "The Coalition must have medical data, and there are other aliens here. Someone must know something." Maya refused to leave the medical wing. She sat in a chair next to where they had laid Kraventhor on the floor, since no bed could hold him. His breathing was shallow and labored. His body was so still that several times Maya had to check to make sure he was still alive. The Coalition database provided basic Gorath medical information, but it was limited. Most species had never bothered to study Goroth biology in detail. Why would they? Goroth were just weapons, just guards. Who cared about the details of their bodies? A Velen doctor finally agreed to help. The shimmering alien approached Craventhor carefully, its colors shifting to show nervousness. But it began examining him, its translator device speaking in precise medical terms. 3 arms fractured, exoskeleton compromised in 47 locations, internal bleeding in multiple organs. He should not be alive, the Velen said, its colors flashing in what the translator called amazement. But he is alive, Maya said firmly. So fix him. The Velen worked through the night with human doctors assisting. They adapted equipment, mixed medications carefully adjusted for Goroth biology, and did everything they could. Maya stayed awake, watching every procedure, refusing all suggestions that she should rest. News of what happened spread quickly. Video footage from the summit showed everything. Craventhor running into danger while others ran away. Craventhor holding up the ceiling. Craventhor pushing Maya to safety even as he was crushed. The media coverage changed overnight. Where before they had shown fear of the alien warrior, now they showed his heroism. The children he saved appeared on news programs talking about the nice giant who protected them. Their parents cried as they described how close they had come to losing their kids. The security forces who had pointed guns at him apologized publicly. The security chief resigned in shame, but Maya barely noticed any of it. She only cared about the still figure lying in the medical wing fighting for his life. On the 3rd day, other Goroth began arriving. 3 more warriors came through the transport gates, demanding to see Craventhor. The humans were afraid at first. 3 more giant aliens suddenly appearing, but these Goroth carried no weapons. They moved carefully, trying not to frighten anyone. The eldest of them, a Goroth whose exoskeleton showed the scars of many battles, approached Maya. "You are the human who befriended Craventhor," he said. It wasn't a question. "Yes," Maya replied. "I'm Maya. I am Theron. I lead Craventhor's clan. We came as soon as we heard." He looked down at the unconscious warrior. "He is strong. He will survive." "I hope so," Maya said quietly. "You stayed with him," Theron observed. "For 3 days you have not left. He's my friend." Theron's 6 eyes studied her. "Humans do not befriend Goroth." "This human does," Maya said. Something shifted in Theron's expression. Perhaps Craventhor was right. He said humans might be different. We did not believe him. Over the next hours, Theron told Maya more about the Goroth than any database had ever contained. He told her the real history of their people, the history the galaxy preferred to forget. "We were not always warriors," Theron said. 500 years ago we were farmers and artists. We were peaceful." Maya listened in growing horror as Theron explained how another species, long since vanished from the galaxy, had found the Goroth homeworld. They had seen potential in the Goroth's natural strength and size. They had taken Goroth children and changed them, engineered them, made them into living weapons. "They used us to fight their wars," Theron continued. "For generations we were slaves. We did terrible things because we had no choice. And then finally we rebelled. We won our freedom. We destroyed those who had enslaved us. And the galaxy never forgave you," Maya said softly. "No, they saw only the violence. They did not ask why. They decided we were monsters by nature, not by creation. For 500 years we have tried to prove otherwise. But no one wants to see. No one wants to know us. Craventhor tried to tell me," Maya said. "He said the galaxy judged you by appearance." "He volunteered for the Earth mission," Theron said. "He hoped humans, being new to the coalition, might not have the same prejudices. He wanted to show that Goroth could be more than guards and fighters." Maya looked at her friend's broken body. "He showed that," she said. "He showed that to everyone who watched him hold up that ceiling. He showed that when he saved those children." "Perhaps," Theron said. "But will it be enough? Or will humans forget, just as the rest of the galaxy forgot?" On the 5th day, Craventhor's eyes opened. Maya was dozing in her chair when she heard movement. She jerked awake to find all 6 of Craventhor's amber eyes looking at her. "You should rest," he said, his voice weak but clear. Maya laughed and cried at the same time. "You should rest. You're the one who almost died, you idiot. The people I protected. They survived?" "All of them. Every single person you saved is fine. Thanks to you." Craventhor was quiet for a moment. Good, he finally said. Why did you do it? Maya asked. You could have run. You could have gotten yourself to safety. I am a warrior, Kraventhor said simply. My purpose is to protect. What use is strength if not to save the weak? The weak, Maya repeated.
Is that how you see us?
No. Kraventhor's eyes focused on her. I see you as people who deserve protection, as people who deserve life, as people worth dying for. Well, don't die, Maya said fiercely. I didn't spend 5 days in this medical wing just to have you give up now. 5 days? Kraventhor seemed surprised. You have been here 5 days? Of course I have. You're my friend, remember? Kraventhor was silent for a long moment. Then he said, I have been a warrior for 30 years. I have fought in countless battles. I have stood guard over kings and criminals alike. But never in all that time has anyone stayed by my side when I fell. Never has anyone called me friend and meant it. Well, get used to it, Maya said, trying to smile through her tears, because you're stuck with me now. Over the next weeks, Kraventhor healed slowly. His exoskeleton regenerated, filling in the cracks and breaks. His broken arms mended. The Goroth, it turned out, were remarkably tough. But the emotional healing for both Kraventhor and the humans around him took longer. People began visiting. The children he had saved came with drawings and flowers. Their parents came to say thank you, many of them crying. Diplomats who had once avoided him came to shake his hand, or at least the alien equivalent. But the most important visitor was a small girl, maybe 7 years old. She walked right up to Kraventhor with no fear at all. You saved me, she said. My mama says you're a hero. Kraventhor looked down at the tiny human. I only did what was right. Are you scary? The girl asked. Many people think so. I don't think so. I think you're nice. She reached up and touched one of his massive arms. Thank you for saving me. After she left, Maya saw something she had never seen before. Kraventhor was crying, dark blue tears running from his 6 eyes. Change is possible, he whispered. Perhaps it really is possible. Maya took his hand, her small fingers wrapped around one of his claws. It's not just possible, she said. It's happening right now. 6 months after the attack, Maya stood in the embassy gardens watching the sunrise. The gardens had been rebuilt, bigger and more beautiful than before. The tree where she had first approached Kraventhor still stood. Strong and tall, she heard heavy footsteps behind her and smiled without turning around. You're up early, Kraventhor said, coming to stand beside her. Couldn't sleep. Too excited about today. Today was the ceremony. The coalition was giving awards to those who had acted with bravery during the attack. Kraventhor was receiving the Star of Valor, the highest honor the coalition could give. He was the first Goroth in history to receive it for protecting life rather than taking it. Are you nervous? Maya asked. Very much so, Kraventhor admitted. Speaking before so many people. I'm a warrior, not a diplomat. You'll be fine. Just speak from the heart. Things had changed so much in 6 months. After the attack, after the videos of Kraventhor's heroism spread across Earth and then across the galaxy, the Goroth had found themselves in an unfamiliar position. They were being appreciated, respected, even welcomed. Earth had led the change. The government had issued a formal apology to all Goroth for the initial fear and prejudice. They had invited more Goroth to Earth, not as guards, but as diplomats, teachers, and cultural ambassadors. Other species, seeing Earth's example, had begun to reconsider their own attitudes. It was slow. 500 years of prejudice didn't disappear overnight, but it was happening. Maya had helped create the First Contact Friendship Initiative, a program designed to help humans and aliens connect on a personal level. She had been inspired by her own friendship with Kraventhor. If one friendship could change so much, imagine what hundreds or thousands could do. The program had grown beyond her wildest dreams. Humans were volunteering to work with all kinds of aliens, even species that looked strange or frightening. They were learning that appearance meant nothing compared to character. I received a message from my homeworld, Kraventhor said, pulling Maya from her thoughts. The Council of Clans wishes to thank you personally. Me? I didn't do anything. You did everything, Kraventhor said. You chose to see me as a person when everyone else saw only a monster. You started the change that is spreading across the galaxy. My people will not forget. I just treated you like a friend, Maya said. That's not special. It was special to me, Kraventhor replied. It was special to all Goroth. For the first time in centuries, we have hope that we can be more than what others made us. They stood in comfortable silence, as they had so many times before. Maya thought about how far they had come from that first day when she had nervously approached the giant alien under this very tree. "Do you remember when you asked if I could hear things humans couldn't?" Craventhor said suddenly. "Yes. That was one of our first conversations. I did not tell you then, but I could hear your heartbeat. It was very fast. You were afraid." Maya nodded. "I was terrified, but you came anyway. You spoke to me anyway. That was true courage." "Courage isn't the absence of fear," Maya said, remembering something her grandmother used to tell her. "It's choosing to do the right thing despite fear." "Yes," Craventhor agreed. "That is what you taught me. That humans understand this." More people began arriving at the embassy as the morning went on. The gardens filled with humans and aliens of every kind. Maya saw species mixing freely, talking and laughing together. 6 months ago that would have been impossible. Now it seemed natural. She saw children playing together, human kids and alien kids chasing each other around the gardens. A group of teenagers were taking selfies with a friendly court the elder. 2 diplomats, one human and one Velen, were having an animated discussion about art. And everywhere, mixed throughout the crowd, were Gorath warriors. But they weren't standing apart anymore. They were part of the gathering, part of the conversation. People approached them without fear, talked to them like equals. One Gorath was kneeling down so a small human child could touch his exoskeleton, explaining how it worked. Another was showing a group of scientists the intricate patterns of Gorath writing. A third was simply laughing at something a human had said, the deep rumbling sound making others smile. "Look at this," Maya said to Craventhor. "Look at what's possible." "I see it," Craventhor said. "I still sometimes cannot believe it is real." The ceremony began at noon. Hundreds of people gathered in the main hall, the same hall that had been destroyed in the attack. It had been rebuilt with stronger walls and better safety systems. But more importantly, it had been rebuilt with hope. The coalition ambassador spoke first, talking about courage and sacrifice. Then came the awards. Several humans received medals for helping during the evacuation. Alien first responders were honored for their quick thinking. Then it was Craventhor's turn. The giant warrior walked to the front of the hall. Maya saw his arms trembling slightly. He was really nervous. She found herself holding her breath. The ambassador hung the Star of Valor around Craventhor's neck. It looked tiny against his massive chest. The crowd applauded, but Craventhor raised one hand for silence. He had asked to speak. "I am not good with words," Craventhor began, his deep voice filling the hall. "I am a warrior. I am taught to act, not to speak. But today I must try." He paused, his 6 eyes scanning the crowd. "For 500 years my people have been alone. We were judged by what we looked like, by what others made us be. We were feared and hated. We accepted this as our fate. We stopped hoping for anything different." His voice grew stronger. "Then I came to Earth. And one human, one scientist who had every reason to fear me, chose not to. She chose to speak to me, to know me, to see me as a person, not a monster." Maya felt everyone's eyes turn to her. She felt her face get hot, but she didn't look away from Craventhor. "Maya Chen taught me that courage is not the absence of fear." Craventhor continued. "It is the choice to understand despite fear. She showed me that one person, one act of kindness, can change everything." He held up the medal. "This honor belongs not just to me, but to every being who chooses to look past appearance and see the truth underneath. To every person who offers friendship instead of fear. To everyone who believes that change is possible." Craventhor's eyes found Maya in the crowd. "You taught me that my strength is not just for fighting. It is for protecting, for building, for creating a better galaxy. You gave me hope when I had none. You gave all Gorath hope. For this we will be forever grateful." The hall erupted in applause, but Maya barely heard it. She was too busy wiping tears from her eyes. After the ceremony, there was a celebration. Music played, food was shared, and people mingled freely. Maya found herself surrounded by well-wishers, but she kept looking for Craventhor. She found him back in the garden under their tree. "Trying to escape the crowd?" she asked, walking up to him. "I needed a moment of quiet," Craventhor admitted. "Too much attention makes me uncomfortable." Maya laughed. "Get used to it. You're a celebrity now. I do not want to be a celebrity. I only want to be—" He paused, searching for the word. "A friend?" Maya suggested. Yes, a friend. They stood together under the tree, watching the celebration continue in the distance. Maya thought about everything that had changed. Everything that had become possible because one day she had chosen to say hello to someone everyone else feared. What happens now? She asked. Now we continue, Kraventhor said. More Gorath will come to Earth. More humans will learn about us. The galaxy will slowly change. It will take time. There will be setbacks. But the path forward is clear now. Thanks to you, Maya said. Thanks to us, Kraventhor corrected. I could not have done this alone. No one can change the galaxy alone. But together, anything is possible. He placed one massive hand gently on Maya's shoulder, a gesture of Gorath brotherhood that she had learned meant trust and respect beyond words. Maya reached up and touched his arm in return. Human and Gorath, friends against all odds. Proof that courage and kindness could overcome any prejudice. The sun set over the embassy, painting the sky in brilliant colors. And under their tree, the human and the warrior stood together, looking toward a future they had helped create, a future where fear gave way to understanding, where prejudice gave way to friendship, where anything was possible if someone had the courage to take the first step.